Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, we're going to go over Dominican Republic tourist numbers for June 2026. Another Dominican Republic tourist record. It keeps happening over and over again. But let's look into the numbers, shall we? And welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here looking for information or who's not even thinking about looking for this information that may need it. So, without further ado, let's go over to the Stop Struggling Now YouTube podcast channel page. I want to thank you again for being here. And please notice we have a community section. We have a join button. We have a subscribe button. And we have several videos that can potentially help you out. So make sure you come over here and browse through them to see if there's anything that you may like. A myriad of topics. So once again, let's get into the tourist analysis number. Tourismanalytics.com. You can go there for any country to get their analytics. Air, cruise, hotel occupancy. So let's go. 2026, June 2026. Here's the numbers once again. Stopover visitors. Year over year, so far, midway through the first 6 months, 10% change. Now, that is a good thing. Can it uphold 10%? Last year, it was roughly 8.8 million. I rounded up a little bit, but it was 8.79 or something like that. But 8.8 million was last year, so can they stay with this stopover visitors by air with the 10%? Visitors by sea, well, it's expected to be about that. I don't expect any big increases. But here we go. Stopover visitors by month. And stopover visitors, I would hope, would mean by air. We'll get into that shortly when they break it down. But if it is by air, 816,000 is the fourth largest. And the month of July should probably be even a little bit better. So that is a huge increase from the previous year. Roughly 816,000 over 770,000 last year. Roughly another 50,000 people during the month. Another, what is that on average? About 12,500 additional people per month by air. That's a good sign. What about the airports that they land at? Here we go. La Romana is the only one that lost 7.3%. All the rest stayed above board. Santo Domingo, 19.7. But they have 979,000 people. Let's call it 980,000 if you round up. Santo Domingo. But number one airport for 2026, 3,119,339 non-residents. That's 62.8% of all tourists land in Punta Cana. That's a significant number. That's why there's a lot of growth in Punta Cana as well. From hotels, condo, villa, townhome sales, businesses, all of this goes hand in hand. So let's get to further information. Let me know what you guys think about this information. Does this make it seem like this would increase hotel numbers? Does this seem like it would increase tourist numbers? I want to hear from you at the end in the comments section, no matter where you're watching from. Let's go. Okay, here you go. Air stopover, once again, you know who's number one. It's going to be United States of America by country. 2026. June year-to-date 2026. All those numbers I previously gave you was year-to-date numbers, except for the very first number, 800 plus thousand tourists by air. Now, let's go to visitors by country. 1,823,552. That's a 36.7% share. Now, I want to point out something. Last year was 1.7. So there's more by 5.3%, but the share has been reduced from 38.3% to 36.7. That is 1.6% decrease in the share. So keep this in mind. Traditionally, if you're new here, what would happen in the Dominican Republic is that roughly 60% of all tourists would be from the United States and Canada. Up until about now or last year. But the point is, that is changing because they're building so many different projects, different condo rentals, condo hotels, villas, and businesses around the island. So now there's a reason for people to land at least 6 or 7 of the airports on the island. So think about this. There's several locations that you could actually go to as a tourist now. So that reduces some of the tourist numbers overall. And that also is a sign of potential investor problems, because these two by themselves is over 2.6 million visitors by air out of the 4.9. That's half for sure. But half is not where you want to be, because all the rest of the countries are not the same as United States and Canadians investing in the Dominican Republic. So, sea cruise line passengers, in case you want to know, 2.2% year over year, 1.6 million this year, 1.6 million last year, except for roughly 35,000 more people year over year. Hotel performance year to date, 81.5%. The last 2 months, May 73.7%, June 73.6%. That's trending in the wrong direction, because the year started off as the usual with a bang. 84% in January, 88% in February, 87% hotel occupancy in March, 82% in April, but now 73.7, 73.6. That is not a good sign, trending downward. And I expect July traditionally is a pretty decent month, but I don't expect that to be at 80. If it is, that would be awesome. But August, September, and October, and November are going to potentially be less than this. So year to date, we'll find out at the end of the year, we'll probably be under 80%. That's not a great number. All right. So now let's get into the stopover numbers, shall we, by air? This is 2025. Let me go back over here. Here's where we have the total stopover numbers by air. And you see 4.9. So we got 4,963,343. That's 10% year to date, year over year. That is very fascinating. But I was looking at something today, and what I noticed was this here. Non-resident Dominicans, 727,000, roughly 100,000, maybe a little more than that, 125,000 per month is included in the stopover air. I know they stop over by air, but I'm an investor on the island. So if I'm an investor on the island, I need as many tourists who needs to stay at short-term rentals, who will be out and about going through the cities and neighborhoods, contributing in their tourist dollars. I need that. So when I see this 700 plus thousand, I think the majority of them have family members there. They probably won't be staying at hotels, which I'm not sad about that. But if I'm doing short-term rentals, then I need them to be staying at my short-term rentals. That is business 101. So just keep that in mind. Everything else, it looks like there's going to be another year of an increase in tourism numbers. That's for sure. But what can I say? I just want to hear from you guys. I made this short and sweet because I do have another video that I'm going to be making. If anybody's interested in buying a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit, no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry, to take over payments for $169,000, yes, you do have to make a down payment. But then 0% interest, you pay the developer directly because it's still in pre-construction mode. Delivery will not be until probably sometime in 2028, but right now they say late 2027. In case anybody wants to know what it is, Larimar City and Resort, ocean view, Farallon view, unobstructed, because it's in Prime Towers 2. Right up front, 11th floor. Hit me up if you're going to be interested. Support at stopstrugglingnow.com. And if not, I'll see you in the next one. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. It's getting a little harder. The numbers will start bearing it out, and I love statistics because numbers don't lie, people do. But be very careful out here, because just because this is going up with stopover air citizens like it's been for the last 6 years, just remember, you need to know the occupancy rates if you're going to do short-term rentals or even long-term rentals. They're two different animals. So once again, hopefully this helps you out if you want to plan on investing there with businesses and other opportunities that could potentially be there. But don't be fooled by the numbers. The numbers mean certain things. In statistics, I say not everybody comes by themselves. We know that. So what's the average? We don't know. But I'll use an average of 2. If it's an average of 2, then that means you have to split all the numbers that has regard with hotels, short-term rentals, and all of that. You would have to split it in half. So instead of 4.9, it's, let's call it 5. It's really 2.5. And when you start thinking about 2.5, that's 200,000, roughly, passengers by air per week. Break that down to weekly, that's 50,000 people that is looking for a place to stay for every week. When you break that down, and then you realize there's roughly 150,000 units on the island when you add hotel units, Airbnb, VRBO, and all the rest of the short-term rental gang. Now do you see there's a problem, Houston? And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.